down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
You tuned in, to the Savvy Radio Show, and man, I got one of my greatest friends. How can you articulate greatest friend or lower friend or friend? I mean, I'm talking about a brother that is through the thick and thin. So greatest is not even the word to articulate of a wonderful friendship of someone that's in tune to who you are, and that's Matt Plagg.
Well, thank you, Stephen. And
Yeah.
I feel the same way about you.
That's why we hang out, I guess.
I guess it is. It sure is.
Matt and I, man, I don't know if you guys know Matt. You've heard of maybe an episode or two before that Matt is an amazing coach. And so I think I'm an amazing coach, maybe not to some people. I've been fired before, which is interesting.
We all have.
You should fire people, and that's episode we're going to do after this one about firing people, but we'll talk about that at another time. But Matt and I, we've been kicking this around for several months about just contributing to people, and so we just coined something just a few minutes ago called the Coach's Corner.
Coach's Corner.
Bang,
yes.
bang. And what it is that you should be coaching yourself, and there's sometimes that you need to hire a professional coach to get you unstuck. And so what we're going to do is a 5-minute, 10-minute, or a 30-minute, just hopefully weekly, depending on our schedules, to encourage you in the realm of coaching.
Because as we've said before, everybody has the ability to coach someone else. Meaning if you can bring value to someone's life, if you can help them get results, if you can put yourself in their world and say, okay, I think I can help this person, you can be a coach.
That's right. And it comes in all shapes, colors, and shape sizes and colors and backgrounds. And you don't need tremendous formal education to be a coach. And we just want to make sure we should probably do an intro that says that. You don't have to be this to be that.
It's true.
You could just, I'm telling you, you're coaching your children. Just the way you're leading, the way you're communicating. Even today when I was at the store, I'm coaching someone and how I present myself and how I lead into the question of how much does this item cost? I'm coaching them how to communicate to me.
Right. And coaching is not therapy. Coaching is not counseling. It's something totally different.
Well, sometimes it turns into that.
It can. Yes, it does.
Sometimes I actually had a coaching session not too long ago with a new coach, and it was kind of intense in some regard. I don't know how to compare other people because I'm a unique individual, but I told this coach, and she's a lady, and I was like, "This is therapeutic for me."
Nice.
And she was like, "Okay," because I'm all intense, and I'm like,
right.
I want a breakthrough. I want to know. Yeah. How do I become better, or how do I get unstuck, or what's going on? And that is today's subject, is kind of understanding your own stuckness.
Yes.
And I'm going to try to say it, but Matt, for the last couple of weeks, is bringing this up in my world. And when I first heard this, and I really was like dumbfounded. I was like, I might be like that. And so Matt's going to lead this one, but it's overly idealistic.
Idealistic.
Yes. Idealistic.
Yes.
And so tell me this, and overreaching, break it down for me. What does that mean to you?
It means that if you are overly idealistic, you probably are an idealist personality. That's a personality type.
Meaning everything has to be perfect?
No, the future's bright. I look on the bright side. I watch an infomercial and like, oh, I can do that. I'm going to buy that.
Hey,
or I go to a conference and then the guy's selling something and like, you do this and you're going to be a multimillionaire. I can do that. So I buy this.
Okay.
The idealist personality type is the person that people like to be around because they're positive. They send positive energy out and they exude that. But just like every personality type, there's also the negative side of it. The negative side of an idealist is that, okay, I bought this coaching, this product at a conference, and it said it's going to make all my wildest dreams come true. Therefore, I must work on it every day. Well, what happens? You get up in the morning and you have all this stuff to do. You have to go to a job. You have a family. You got the kids. Got to go to work. And then you come home and you're tired and I didn't get this thing done today.
So is this an expectation that you've created in your mind?
You have created this in your own mind. You've set this standard. You've imposed. It's self-imposed. It's not imposed by other people. That's the danger of it, is that you don't realize that. And the way this happened for me is I have a good friend that I value his opinion. He's very wise. And I was doing this personality assessment thing, and I said, you know me really well. I want you to tell me what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I don't want you to pull punches. I want you to be honest, because I'm past the point of, wearing my, being thin-skinned and all this and thinking I have it all together, because I don't. So I said, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want you to be honest with me. And that's what you want when you want to get feedback from people, is you want honest, because most people are like, oh, you're great, we love you. That doesn't help us, right? So this friend said something to me that totally rocked my world. No one's ever said this to me before. He said, you are overly idealistic. Now, I've had people tell me before I'm stubborn. And ironically,
how about overachiever?
Sometimes.
Is that in the same realm of what we're talking about?
It can be, but it can also hinder that. We're going to get to that. See, here's the thing. Being stubborn, I never thought of myself as stubborn, because I'm willing to learn from other people's mistakes. I'm willing to be teachable. Look, we pay for coaching, right? We go to conferences,
seminars,
books. Yeah. So I don't think I'm stubborn. And if something hurts, I'm going to stop it. If it's bad for me, if I realize this is killing me, I'm going to stop it. So I didn't think I was stubborn.
Hold on. Define stubborn for you. Something that you won't waver from or stop doing. So you'll inflict pain on yourself to keep going? I think
stubborn is not being willing to learn.
Okay.
Now, some people say I'm stubborn, I'm going to keep forging ahead. When I know I'm supposed to do something, I'm not going to listen to what anyone else says. I'm going to forge ahead and do this. That, I believe, is being persistent. I think there's a difference in stubborn and persistent. Stubborn gets referred to as a mule, right? You can't get it to do anything. It's going to go its own way. It's going to do, heck with you. I'm going to go my own way, not listen to anyone else, not be teachable, make my own mistakes, probably not even learn from my own mistakes. Keep doing the same thing, right? But we've heard it said that doing the same thing, expecting different results, is insanity.
Sure.
So I think that insanity and stubbornness are closely related. I didn't think of myself as stubborn, but I'm like, well, what is it then? It never occurred to me that I'm overly idealistic until that friend told that to me one day, and it was just like this epiphany. It's like these blinders went off of my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. It's like when we take those Myers-Briggs personality assessment, and you're like, whoa, that is me. They've been reading my mail, or the DISC, the disc we talk about. It's like, whoa, yeah, that's me, and whoa, that's my wife. You see this? This was like.
So what was it like? So he said that you are idealistic, and is this something that you were striving for, that you wouldn't waver from, or you?
No, I think it's a overly idealistic is.
So when you said the scales lifted off, what was it like?
Yeah, thinking, okay, I'm not stubborn, but I am overly idealistic.
You're trying to be perfected?
That I set this ideal of what I think something should be, and it is more than likely past what is practical, even past what is common sense, but I hold to that ideal rather than seeing this is counterproductive, this is hurtful, and this isn't working. Yet I'm still holding to that ideal. So I can see how that and stubborn have some of the same characteristics, but they're actually different things.
Or they don't align with your vision.
Or it takes me away from it. Ironically, I think, okay, this is taking me, I went to this conference, I bought this product, and it's going to,
change
set
my
me on
world.
a whole new world. So I'm holding to that. Yet every day I'm not getting done what it is supposed to be. Or we hold ourselves to this standard that's unachievable. Now, we talk about goals using the SMART acronym, right? They're specific, they're measurable. The third one, A, is attainable. Realistic.
Timetable.
Time-based, right. So if I set for myself a goal, and at the time I think, okay, in an ideal world, I would work out,
or have this many units by this time.
Have this many units. I would have this, I'd go through this program. I'd have this whole excuse me, this whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-affirmation. I go through this self-affirmation and I have this whole plan. And if I don't follow that plan to a T, then I've failed. I haven't been successful. And I start beating myself up. And that starts this vicious cycle of I didn't achieve this. And then before long, what we realize is that we haven't achieved this. We start beating ourselves up. We get totally off track from our goals. We've forgotten why we even started this thing in the first place.
And so what you're saying is because we've set this ideal situation.
Yes.
And we're kind of bummed or derailed because that we're not reaching that, and that may not be exactly what we need to be working on.
Right. That's
so
exactly.
Okay, so great. This sounds great, Doctor. How do we define this, and how do we know when we are this?
Well, that's a really good question. I think, and this is just personal experience here, I've been able to help some of my clients with this too, because I realize when I realize this, I realize that in my clients, and I'm able to say, hey, think about this. So let's think about the things that maybe trigger that. Let's look back at the times when you realized you were overly idealistic and you set this picture in your mind that's the ideal, okay.
Like, look, give me an example. Like, I have so many houses, or I'm this much money, or this physical body.
Yeah, think about everything that we're bombarded with in our daily life as far as information.
Okay.
There are so many Facebook groups I could keep up with.
You can't.
There are so many news feeds I try to keep up with. There's so many, I should be listening to podcasts. I should be reading this person's blog. All these things that we could do in an ideal world, you'd get it all done. There's no, as you just said, there's no way yet. I set this up for myself. In an ideal world, I'd get up at 5 a.m. every day and go to the gym, and I'd keep this.
So this is reverse.
This exact schedule. It's kind of like,
so what you're saying is it's reverse. It's like you're setting up yourself to fail.
Exactly. That's very.
So
well
you're saying
said.
like, I'm putting this much pressure on. Like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by the end of the month.
Right.
And if I don't do these certain things, so it's not realistic.
And exactly, and it's not realistic. And what happens when we have something that's not that's realistic is sometimes we even procrastinate. Because we're like, I can't achieve that. But then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I have this self-imposed deadline, so I'm going to try to cram all night and get all this done or lose that extra 20 pounds in the last week to make this deadline that I set.
So is there indicators to show when you're getting in this train of thinking? Is this something that a coach will reveal, obviously, because that's how you're helping your clients, but how did this, like, I'm trying to apply this to myself. Am I idealistic about certain things? I know that I have
overly idealistic.
Yeah, I have expectations for myself. I have a standard, right?
Yes.
So, but then how do you take it? How does it become too much is too much? Is what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
right?
That's a really good question, because obviously those of us who want to be successful, those of us who are high achievers or want to be high achievers, yes, you have to set goals and standards and reach for them and set timelines and have a plan. It's just that sometimes it gets out of whack. I think a lot of people that we work with, Stephen, in real estate and business and entrepreneurs, a lot of them are idealists because, the future's bright, the glass is half full, we can do this. We should set big goals that scare us to reach them. Well,
you're a Darren Harding fan.
I am a Darren Harding fan.
Audacious goals.
Oh, big hairy, audacious goal. Absolutely, I am.
So we're giving a formula for people to get insecure about setting big goals because it's.
And don't think that I'm telling people don't set goals. Don't tell people I'm just saying just settle for whatever comes down the pike. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the idealist personality is a good thing. That's what a lot of entrepreneurs are. But the dark side of that is when we become overly idealistic.
Okay.
And that hinders us, meaning that I have to step back and realize that sometimes those of us who procrastinate, I'm saying because I do, and sometimes when something causes me stress, I will procrastinate because I don't want to do that. When I realize that if I just went ahead and did this thing, that's part of being disciplined. But the thing is when we're not disciplined, we tend to beat ourselves up. The problem is when we don't reach our goals, we tend to beat ourselves up. And part of, I think, overcoming that is realizing that daily discipline, daily doing those things we're supposed to do, that's where we win. Stephen, you had me read the book, The Compound Effect. That book was great because it is exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes we don't do
the process,
the necessary things that we should do and trust that like, okay, I know if I go to the gym every day, it's going to yield positive results. I go to the gym and I swam, a mile this morning. I look in the mirror tonight. Do I see anything different? No. But if I go to the gym for a month every day and do that, I can look in the mirror and say, yeah, I can notice a difference. My love handles are a little smaller, right? If I go to the gym for 6 months, I'm going to notice a big difference. And I drop 20 pounds or 30 pounds. That's life-changing then. That's the compound effect having its results, right? Or they work against us, right? If I don't go to the gym a day, will it kill me? No.
Or a cheeseburger a day.
I eat a cheeseburger today. It's that. So I think the problem with overly idealists, we hold this ideal, yet sometimes we don't do the necessary. We don't trust those daily things, and all of a sudden we're trying to make up for lost time at the end. And this goal that
Creates
we set
pressure.
is not, So it's like, okay, I want to buy 10 houses this year. And, January through June, I don't go look at houses and make offers every week, yet I'm still holding this ideal of I got to, oh crap, now during the last 6 months, I got to go look at double the amount. I'm making up for lost time, yet I'm still holding this ideal instead of saying, well, you know what? I didn't do this, so maybe I should try to buy 5 houses this year.
Now you're getting some traction there, because I actually
Right
have a
on.
client that has that goal,
Yeah,
and we're in the month of July.
right?
But I think this individual can reach that goal of 10 units. I think it's possible because he sits in a position where he's able to mine those deals.
Yeah.
But I think the gist of what we're trying to say, it's the word overly.
Overly. So here's an example. So I know, okay, in June, we're going to have our 25-year class reunion.
Okay.
And I want to be looking good for my 25-year class reunion. So I want to drop 20 pounds.
Okay.
All right. So I know that if I every day
Do these
I
certain
have
things.
to do these certain things, yet I get busy and I don't do these things. Now, these things that we're talking about, they're easy to do. It's easy to go to the gym and do that. It's not rocket science, but they're also easy not to do. So the trap we fall into is that we get busy and these things are easy not to do, yet that class reunion is getting closer and closer and closer, yet I'm still holding up that ideal of how I'm going to look in my, my jeans and my shirt, and the women will be like, "Woo!" and look at it, man, you haven't changed a bit in 25 years. You still look the same. All that you have this ideal in your head, yet your daily life doesn't mirror that, and that is the great disconnect that we're talking about as being someone who's overly idealistic.
As you're using different forms of giving an analogy, I think to myself, how many times am I overly idealistic in my own world? Like, am I, because I put too much pressure on myself, and sometimes I do it for fun, like to see how much I can perform.
Yeah.
How many jobs can I do at one time?
Yeah,
And it's really just self-defeating behavior.
it is.
And you just got to really narrow in on what you really want out of life. Like when you put down, hey, I want to be at home and be a better father, but which takes time, but I really want to be rich and takes more time to do more deals or work longer at the office. It's overly impossible.
We all have these ideals of what it would look like an ideal world. In an ideal world, I would be on the beach and I'd have this many, I'd have 500 properties and I'd have VAs taking care of all my business, and I'd have it every system is so ironed out that I'm not even needed and all that. Yet in the getting there, that's where we all seem to get off track. And maybe that ideal was something I put up there that's not realistic or attainable. Is it? So I've found that when something starts causing me major stress in my life, not the challenge saying, okay, I can do this. It's a challenge, but I can do it. But stress, meaning say, oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy and I don't see a way out of this. Then I've probably set something up for myself that's overly idealistic. So what we're talking about here is that idealist is a good personality trait.
Okay.
Yet when it goes bad, it can turn into overly idealistic. Now, you might, if you're listening to this, you might ask yourself, am I either stubborn or overly idealistic? And if people have told you your whole life, you're just stubborn, maybe you might be overly idealistic instead. And hopefully we shed some light on the difference between those two things. And you can see that in yourself. And just being aware of that, knowing how I am, knowing that when I have something coming up, I set this ideal in my head of how it should be, but I either A, don't put a plan in place to get there, or I don't follow that plan every day.
So what do you do when, for checks and balances, and this is the application process? Okay, I want to check myself and I want to make sure that I'm not overly. Do you run your plan by someone? And then how do you know if running that plan by that individual will be in the right state of mind? Because not everybody's plans, because if I shared my plan with you of what I want to do, it may not seem humanly possible to you because you may not be educated in this one area.
Well,
so then how do you find checks and balances to not have this control you?
You hit the nail on the head as far as having accountability in your life. We have to build that in, but just like Napoleon Hill talks about having your mastermind, talking about
and run it by several people.
Your mastermind, I would say, and if you don't have a mastermind, you need to get one, because you need to have people who value your dreams, your goals, your vision, yet they can tell when you're getting something out of whack. Yeah, it's like, Matt, you're not living in the real world now. You're living in your little world that you made up. But the real world is here, and it's doing this right now. But you're over here. You have this scenario, this ideal of what it's going to look like, and you're holding to that while you're kind of ignoring what's going on in the real world. Okay,
cool. So try to find a mastermind, a genuine mastermind, and a quick mastermind is someone that is not that we're trying to network. A mastermind is like there's 4 or 5 people, or 6, no more than that. That one poses a situation that you need to grow with, and the other 4 or 5 people push you to get that. They may come up in Google for you. They help you come up with a plan.
Yeah.
They, hey, I know where to source this information. I know where to get these products. I know where to get these signs. Whatever the case may be, that's a real mastermind. Someone that's authentically thinking of you and beyond themselves.
Yeah.
And it's when it's their turn, you deny yourself and you help that person. That's a real mastermind.
Exactly, because those other people are going to see your blind spots.
And you're going to be authentic about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, look, dude, you're fat. Oh, okay. But when I look in the mirror, I look sexy.
In my mind, I look sexy, yeah.
I mean, and I think that's another thing with the ideal overly. I've lost weight several times up and down. And in my mind, like right now, when you walked into the office, man, you're like, hey, you're looking good. In my mind, I don't think that.
Yeah.
And I think that we think that way with achievement. And we're overly, like, when is enough of so many houses.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I was chasing a unit number. Oh, I got 100 units. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. When you're broke and you have no cash flow.
Yeah.
And there's several people that I have worked with over the years. They have X amount of houses and they have no cash flow.
Right.
And who are they working for? Yeah. Not the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they may have financed them wrong or didn't have a plan in place, or they had the ideal situation that this is what life just changes because you have 30 units.
And I think that I have, and we all have this ideal view of, say, a real estate investor is this person who gets to, for some reason, you close your eyes, you see him driving a Ferrari and being on the beach. And in your mind, if it's not me, then I must not be successful as a musician. If I haven't been on the radio
or had a record out,
the TV, I'm not successful, even though I supported my family for 18 years and sold 100,000 records or whatever. So we have these ideals, and so they're self-imposed most of the time. Other people don't do that to us. We do that to ourselves.
If I was going to be authentic and confess, I felt that way before about having a new vehicle, or I need to have this type of vehicle, or has to have leather. And, I just recently made a decision not to get a new vehicle. Not that I can't afford it, but just to have the control that I don't need it.
Right.
And of course, I just got finished reading Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, and it rocked my world of, like, what are we trying to do? What are you trying to live life like?
Yeah.
Because you're really, if you're trying to be a multimillionaire, for what reason? If it's not giving you what you want, then there's no necessarily need it. And I think that we're chasing things like new cars, and that when we obtain these things, we've solved all the problems.
Yep.
No, you're still going to wake up. You're still going to sleep in some bed somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're still going to have problems. And it's just how you deal with those problems or the expectations that you set for yourself.
Exactly. So we're not saying don't dream big. We're not saying don't chase those dreams. We're not saying don't
not
do
work
the
hard.
plan.
You should
We're
work
not saying
hard.
that at all. In fact, we're actually saying work hard, be diligent. Do the things you know every day are going to take you to that dream, and you'll get there. Just don't try to make up for lost time trying to reach this ideal that may or may not even be rooted in the real world anyway.
So let's just throw this out there. Let's just be authentic.
Okay,
if
let's
someone out there hears this podcast and really wants another set of eyes, why not we just help somebody? If that's you out there, that you feel like you're running a race and you're not getting the right direction that you need, you can email us or go to our Facebook page, Savvy Investors. Mm-hmm. Or you can get a hold of us somewhere. It's Matt Blagg, right? Just Facebook /MATT.
MattBlagg.com.
Yeah.
2 T's, 2 G's.
Yeah. No, my email is allpromedia@gmail, ALLPROMEDIA. I know it's a cool email, but it's the original from the jump. Allpromedia@gmail, and yours is really cool. This is
Matt Blagg@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we would love to help you in some form or fashion, because I think, it's hard to really articulate on the radio. But when Matt came in and told me, I can barely say the dang word. It's overly idealistic.
Close enough. You're getting there.
I know I get words that transpose in my mind. But in just seeing you being set free on that. And honestly, I feel that way too. Just recently, I just had a coach and that she said, Stephen, you're working too hard. You're trying to perform. Mm-hmm. And it's because I have this idealistic.
Good job.
What I think you should be as a man at this age, or if you have a higher calling, it should look like this. And I'm putting all this pressure on myself. It's overly idealistic. Like I think Savvy should make $300,000 and we should change the world and donate $1 million. And it's really, what am I trying? I'm overly doing it. I should just be simple and just love Jesus. Like that's for me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with owning 1,000 units.
Nothing at all.
But like, what does it look like when you achieve that? And is it the ideal life that you're chasing after?
Exactly.
And what does an ideal life look like for you?
Yeah.
For me, getting up at 5 a.m. and reading for an hour, going to the gym, maybe even working from home for an hour, mixing it up with some folks, and then going back home at 3 o'clock.
Right on.
That's what it looks like to me. Now, I didn't drive a Ferrari during that process. Now, I did have a cool Chromebook called a Pixel Book that changed my life.
And you weren't on the beach.
And I wasn't on the beach. And like, I can only take so much sand in my butt crack.
True. Me too.
There's only so much.
So we all have these, visions of being on the mountaintop all the time. But the fact is that most of us, many of us, those of us who are overly idealistic, sometimes we're chasing something that's not real. And we're beating ourselves up because we didn't catch it.
Yes.
I'm just saying don't do that.
Come on. All right. So you got our emails. Hopefully Coach's Corner today inspired you in some way or form or fashion.
Have a great day, everybody.
What is the Savvy Boot Camp? Are you struggling to get to the next level as a business owner? As an investor? Do you want to multiply your income? Sign up for the Savvy Boot Camp, a strategic and supercharged one-night and one-day event designed to shortcut your learning process and propel you forward. Just value, no upsells, and an intimate setting to build relationships with like-minded investors. We will be covering how personality profiling can make you a millionaire, outsourcing and the nitty-gritty of maximizing your property management, scaling your business through systems and automation, technology hacks you should be using every day, and how to raise private money. Go to www.savvybootcamp.com now to register or to find out more.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.